Down. Hi everyone, my name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors and coaches to build a business on your terms. And Kelly's just going to share out the live as we go. We're going to wait for you all to come along. I'm going to remind those of you who are not watching us live to do a hashtag replay, because we do like a little bit of a hashtag replay, don't
Yes, we do. We know that. We've worked out that 80% of people watch our lives on the replay.
Which is really rather exciting. So we don't actually mind that we're only speaking to a handful of people, because many people seem to get value.
Bigger and bigger every
week. That is very, very true as well. Yes, holding this many people in that way that you do. But the real conversation takes place in our Connection Hub. So the group that's associated with Speaker Insight is the Connection Hub, where speakers, authors and coaches hang out with those that supply them, all the people that you need behind the scenes to really build a great speaker, author, coach business. All of those people are inside kind of talking about what it's like to build that business. So please do join.
Pop the link in as we speak.
And I'm saying hello to whoever you are, but I can't actually see because for some reason the camera's
really
further away
today.
Yeah, I've no idea what we've done.
We're getting old and we can't see.
Yeah, we won't tell
Say hello in the comments and we'll say hello back.
Yeah, because then we'll be able to see over here, which is a really good thing. So, you know that we always do a buzz in our business. And even if you're doing a replay, we still want to know what the buzz in your business is. So, because, it is really exciting to hear what awards, what exciting things, what progress you're making, and just what you're learning as speaker, authors and coaches. So, tell us, what's the buzz in your business? For us, the buzz in our business is that we literally just finished last Wednesday the final Connect and Create Day of the year. So that's 5 or 6 Connect and Create days where people basically came along and again forged all the connections and met each other for the first time in person rather than virtually. Yeah, and just got loads of stuff done. The list is always impressive at the end of the day, so we like that. And the more exciting thing for us, exciting with a touch of trepidation, in that way that you do, it's a double-edged sword. We're about to film our course, our purpose course.
2 days worth of filming upcoming.
It's very exciting. So, sort of the hairbrushes will come out a little bit later and that'll be good.
Will come out.
But more importantly, we want to thank all of those of you. We put a poll in the Connection Hub and you helped us out tremendously around the naming. And that's the kind of thing that actually happens in there on a regular basis. So we like to avail ourselves of the tools that are available to all of you as well. So thank you for your input.
Some people, Kieran's here on time today.
Hi, Kieran.
Dawn's coming from Italy.
Yay!
Rowan's here. Kieran's going through a major rebrand going on, making message more punchier.
Oh, we like a little bit of that.
I'm sure today's live will help.
I was just going to say, so I suspect that today we'll have some juice for you.
Bethan's, hang on a minute.
Nice to see you.
Setting the schedule for her 2020 Focus for Impact workshops in a fabulous new venue in Worcester?
Worcester.
My God, my eyes! I swear there was a H in there. Dear. Okay.
Yeah. So,
I am getting old. I am officially old next year. Well,
that makes me ancient. Anyway, moving swiftly on, let me tell you about today. So, most speakers, authors and coaches actually do struggle a little bit with their marketing. And one of the main reasons that we set up Speaker Insight was to really help bring a lot of clarity to that. So one of the key distinctions that we actually pick up on all the time, whether it's for our members in the Changemaker group or whether it's just people in the Connection Hub that are actually chatting, one of the things that really comes up is that a lot of the time, people tend to fall into talking about the outputs, what they do, rather than the outcomes, what the impact of what they do is. So we actually thought we'd do a little bit of education on that today, because we actually find that, what happens is that people tend to focus on their activities and what they actually can provide, the products, the services, as if that was where the magic happens. But it's not. The magic, the important piece is actually the result of the intervention that you put in.
That's the connection piece, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's the bit that connects with your audience. And we saw this when we do an introduction on day one of our retreat, where our retreatees introduce themselves. And they're just they're introducing themselves as the outputs, right?
I am the coach, or I am the XYZ, or I do this, as if that speaks for itself. But the thing is, it doesn't. It actually doesn't. So whether you're working in B2B or in B2C, you need to be able to articulate both of those things. Both the outcomes, what you do, that's absolutely paramount. But you also need to understand and realize the impact of what you do and be able to articulate that, because that, as Kelly says, is the connection point. That's what somebody out there looking for a solution to their problem is actually listening for. They're not listening for the coach or the speaker in that way. They're not looking for the activity that you do. They're looking for the result of that activity. So we might just teach you a little bit about how you might craft that. We want you to basically share what matters the most, and deciding how you're going to measure and present that is a really important thing. So we thought we'd give you a little helping hand, didn't we?
And we know that dreaded question that a lot of our avatar has is when someone asks, what do you do? Most people go, oh my God, I find it really hard to succinctly describe what I do because I do so many things, and they get caught up in that trap of describing the what rather than the how and why it matters to the person that they're speaking to. So, and that's one of the things. If you go, oh, I am a coach and I'm a speaker and I'm this and I'm a Reiki master, then you're getting so caught up in the outputs, then it becomes really hard to describe yourself.
And weirdly, even as Kelly just said that, you were probably going, yeah, get to the juicy bit. And that's actually what's going on inside of them as they're listening to you. It's like they can't yet imagine what that really means.
And what it means to them. That's the most important bit. So what, marketing copy, Kieran, is always about what's in it for them. The earlier on that you can make this, the more punchiest you can make this, so you get their attention, so you can make it relevant to them, and that's what the outcomes are.
Yeah.
Because the definition of an outcome is the level of performance or achievement that occurs because of an activity or service that you've provided, right? So most people are just concentrating on that service that you're providing as the description, when actually, if you focus on the performance or the achievement or the result that happens as a byproduct of that, that's what's in it for them, because that's what they want.
That's the juicy bit.
Right? And so when we're talking, we get people to do bits at the retreat and we say, okay, now describe how you work.
Yeah.
And then they go into details, oh, well, I'm a coach, I run a 9-week program, They don't care.
They really don't.
They don't even know what you coach about yet. They don't. So this is what we really want to really hone into. Every time you're writing copy, every time you're thinking about marketing yourself, are you putting the outcomes rather than the outputs?
It's classic for intentions stuff, people, is all I'm going to say as far as that goes.
You
right?
can add the link to your 4 intentions
training
later on,
I will.
so that you can go back. I'm sure anyone that's been watching our lives
for a while
will know.
If you haven't done one yet, why haven't you?
But I would encourage you just quickly to grab a piece of paper, or if you've got an iPad or your laptop, just separate the screen or draw a line down the bit of paper.
Yeah.
And I want you on the left-hand side to list all of your outputs, right? So we can get this really clearly mapped out, because they are important.
Yeah.
This is actually a list of the features more than the benefits.
That's right.
Okay? So this is the way you describe it. People need to know that stuff.
They do.
But only when they're emotionally committed to the outcome and you've got them intrigued, you've got them interested, there's something in it for them.
Yeah.
So therefore you can describe how you do it.
And the purpose of writing the list is that actually, even in doing it,
Alison calls it is like features and benefits when you talk about a product. Features are the way that the product works, benefits are the ways that you help and give what you need.
That's exactly it. And
Like
at a ratio of, honestly, at a ratio of 1 to 3 is also very good. Here is the feature, here's the benefit is always a really good way to do it.
So on that left-hand side of the page,
kinds
list
of
everything
things.
down. It could be coaching, whether that's group, one-to-one. It could be online training. You might have online courses out there. You might have masterminds. You might have podcasts, for example. It might be live events where you deliver. It might be retreats that we've just come off the back of.
Yeah.
You might have books out there, like Alison's just, it's Breast Cancer Week this week, and everywhere I've seen is Alison's book everywhere. So, she's written books on there. It might be that you're a professional or a public speaker. You might be a blogger, or you might have a YouTube channel, and you might be known for social media.
Yeah.
So list all the outputs.
Yes.
Then on the opposite side of the page, start listing the outcomes.
Yeah.
These are the results that come from offering
the
these
delivery
services.
of, yeah.
So, and this is where you need to get really specific.
You have to.
So it could be, you might be a nutrition or a health coach, and you might be listing how much weight on average does a person lose when they go through your training program, from your fitness program or whatever it might be. It might be that you're working in corporates, and you might have to be measuring the employment satisfaction level of a corporation and how much that is improved since you've been working with them. It could be maybe you're a confidence coach in something. What do people go on to do once they finish working with you? What can they now do that they weren't able to do before?
Just hear that question again. What can they now do that they weren't able to do before? So many of you, with greatest of respect, miss that. And actually, it's where the juicy bits are.
It is, because that's what your audience wants. They're like, oh, I know that's where I am and where I want to be. And then you go on to tell them we offer this via coaching or via an online program or whatever the output is.
And that contextualizes how those people got there. And that's the right way around.
However, you're probably now thinking, bloody hell,
How do I get that?
I need to measure these things, right? Because if you say the average amount of weight loss per client, or how much the employment satisfaction went up, there needs to be a way of capturing and measuring these results while you're working with your avatar, so that you can succinctly describe them, right? So think about, again, when you've got your piece of paper out there with outputs and outcomes, what's in there? How are you measuring on a regular basis to capture this information?
What are you currently asking people? It may actually be, so I was working with one of my clients, and I simply said, okay, so do you do feedback sheets? Because, we were having this discussion. And I said, do you do feedback sheets at the end of your workshop? And they said, yes. I was like, okay, what do you do with those things? And actually, as it turned out, the score ended up being across the board, across 6 years of workshops, a 98% satisfaction value around, I have walked away with improved conversation skills and improved communication skills. I'm like, hello, front and center, because that actually, and so the equivalent, just taking that one statistic from something that was lying literally under the desk, like literally all of them stacked up under the desk, so it took a little while to plow them through, but that then turned into a statistic and a statement that could, if you can hear slurping, the dog
dogs.
at the moment, they probably can't hear it, but it's very entertaining for us. Yes. There we go. Right. So we took that statistic, and that now is the key door opener to actually increasing the sales of said workshop. That's what we're talking about.
And Kieran's just had a good point here. I challenge people on the results that they have achieved, doing it on their own, getting the same results, and then I say to them how working with me will help them.
Beautiful.
So then that gives them that awareness. So, and that's what I say, especially with social media, and people go, oh, I'm going to hire a Facebook advertisement person to help me. I'm like, okay, so what are the results you get from doing organic traffic? Oh, I haven't tested it yet. And I'm like, oh, okay. So
how can you compare apples and oranges, right?
And how can you know if that person's going to improve significantly?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another point.
Yeah, that's us off on a soapbox.
Yeah. You might be thinking about, how do I measure? How do I get to do these? So Kieran's given you one way. We and Helene has given you the other, us talking about, feedback forms there, right? So are you always offering feedback forms at the end of running events, at the end of coaching sessions, when you stop working with a client? Just one feedback forms for yourself, so you can always continuously be improving and making sure you're meeting the needs. I know that some of you have been completing our Connect and Create survey forms this week for us to give us some more feedback. But we do this all the time. And including in that feedback form could be that fact of actually asking for a testimonial. But you can also state, just like that, where were you before and how much do you think your communication skills have improved since doing this?
Before and after pictures are really important.
Yeah, and you can do that another way, right? So if you're working, especially in corporates or in groups of people where they start a group program, do a survey beforehand. That survey which is actually measuring some metrics of something that you can then do the survey again when they finish the program or the course, and then see where they are. And that's when you can work out, when you've got people going through that program, the average development. So most people were able to improve this amount on their sales or this amount on their confidence.
And for some of you, I mean, you need to be really commercially minded around this, because if you've got those statistics as results from the workshop you've delivered, the intervention that you've put into a company, if that's created an impact, a positive impact, that allows you to go back to the person who commissioned you and go, should we do some more? I mean, it just makes it so easy for you.
So Rowan's just asked, I've had some reviews already, but they are all 5 stars. How do I present this information without potential clients being skeptical? So this is a big topic, Rowan, and I'm going to, after this live, I'm going to put a link to a Facebook Live training that we did all about how to get great testimonials and use them. And then all the information that we've done in that live will help answer your question. Because this one is actually more about presenting the outcomes rather than the outputs. But you can use this information combined with that, and you'll be rock and rolling. And congrats on the 5-star reviews.
Well done you, right? Well done you.
So we've got feedback forms. We've got surveys to do before and afterwards. You could do some full assessment, especially in corporate land. If you go in and actually work with the SLTs or maybe the whole specific department, you might actually be wanting to run some psychometric tests with them. I know a lot of my clients will use things like Barrett Values or Hogan or Harrison, all these types of things that actually give a snapshot of the corporation of where they are, which is a great route in for you as a trainer, coach or speaker.
Completely.
Because it goes, this is where your problems are, and I can come in and train on that subject. But then when you've worked with them for 90 days, 6 months, a year, you can do it again, and then you can actually see the difference that you've made. And the more that you're capturing that, the more you can then put it in your results.
Because it's that baseline. So have a consideration for yourself around what would be a great baseline in my business as it stands that would allow the outputs that I do to actually reflect the outcomes that result from what I do.
And so remember, testimonials and results. I'm going to put this link in for Rowan, but it's for all of you. Most people will buy like Amazon books purely based on the reviews, which is why we encourage everyone to get at least 20 reviews for your Amazon books.
Completely.
But they're really important. So, again, if you look at our Speaker Insight page, we encourage people to review our page, and you've got those 5 stars.
For anyone that wishes to do so, feel free to do that.
To encourage people not just to put 5 stars, to actually write something about why they've given you 5 stars, both on Amazon Books, Facebook, whatever it might be.
And even what Kelly just said there is almost the difference that we're talking about. It's the, yes, it was 5 stars versus here's why it was 5 stars. So outputs really are about what, and outcomes are really about why, and that implementation.
And then the last thing which we encourage a lot of you to do is to actually get some case studies, which are completely different to testimonials. The purpose of a case study is to actually illustrate an ideal client, so somebody that you want to attract more of people just like this. So you need to know your avatar, as we always say. But what you can do in a case study is actually illustrate the journey, how they found you, what their problem was, had they tried anything else before, what did you do with them initially, potentially take them through your framework if you've got some intellectual property or a methodology you take people through, and then how long did that take? How did they progress? What were the benchmarks? And then where were they at the end? Where were they when they were transformed? Because that journey, even if you just had, say, 5 case studies that you put out there in brochures, in occasional marketing posts, this is gold dust for you to actually connect with your audience, but to actually show the why that Helena was saying, what's the outcome results that you're getting for that person, but so in a context.
And I'm saying hi to Michelle. So what I really want to highlight there is, I don't know whether you picked it up, but I'm going to be really clear about it. The case study is actually the marriage, the written marriage of the outputs, what you did, how you did it, and the outcomes. What was the result of what actually happened, including that baseline that we just talked about and the improvement that actually happened. So a case study, think about it like that. A testimonial is almost the snapshot in time of this is what happened as a result, or this is what I liked about it. The case study is actually that marriage of the output and the outcome together that reflects the whole of the process.
And Kieran's saying what about role playing with someone else to hone your message? So at the Connect and Create Days, Kieran, that's what we do. We get everybody to introduce and we give feedback.
Yeah.
But that's something for you to do, is to actually, I mean, we talk about it a lot. What people say about you when you're not in the room is actually your marketing message.
Yeah.
So the more that you can practice that, maybe go to some networking events and business breakfasts or whatever it might be, do your spiel, and then go back and follow up with the room and go, can anyone remember what the results were that I offer as a service?
It's kind of a really cool, vulnerable thing to do that actually makes you really memorable. And at networking, who doesn't want to be memorable, right? When you go up vulnerably to someone and say, hi, you know, we spoke about 20 minutes ago. What did I actually say?
Can you remember what I do, or who I help, or how I impact?
Yeah, that's going to be a really, really cool thing. Hopefully some of you will take us up on that and come back and tell us how that was, right?
But definitely role play with people so that you practice
Get comfortable.
your language. You might trip over some words, things might not feel so right. You might see, actually watching the interaction with the person you're talking to, if they start losing interest and start looking over your shoulder, then you know that you're speaking too much, right? So, you know, and that's one of the things that we've are going to be filming in our course, is how to have different introductions for different environments and different levels.
Yeah, because it's contextual.
Practice, Kieran.
Yeah, seriously. And somewhere inadvertently, the more you're doing it, somehow you'll hit on that sentence that makes somebody just sit up and go, you know, so be aware of what you're saying as well. And that's going to really help. So back on track a little bit. This really is, if you haven't caught it by now, outcomes is about impact. So if you really just have that as the placeholder, that's going to be really important for you, because it's really important, as we've said, to talk about the outcomes before the outputs. And a lot of the time that's actually about having stepped into, and Kelly had a little giggle a moment ago because I was like, I'm going to get Avatar in there before she is, but she squeezed it in there, because you know that most of our conversations like this, most of the trainings that we do include and start with the avatar. So your ideal avatar absolutely is the key to you defining the outcomes that you talk about. So if you think about understanding what their needs are, what their challenges are, what their issues are, what the constraints, the priorities, the desires that they actually have. You walking in their shoes allows you to begin to actually go, what do I do? What is the result of what I do that can help with those things? So we always start with saying, you know, what is the problem that you can solve, so that you can language it in their language. Think about, you know, what's inconvenient for them, what's taking a long time, what's cumbersome for them, what takes effort or money, or what are the headaches that they've actually got, because here you're looking at and defining the desired outcomes. Once you have those, you can then go, well, how does what I do, outputs, how does what I do actually help solve that? So back to, Kelly mentioned a nutrition coach a moment ago. Do I need to stop?
I just added the live of the testimonials in there for people.
So if, for example, you are a nutrition coach out there, you might actually discover through that process of thinking about, okay, what is going on for my avatar? You might find that they're short on time and they're confused about what to really do. They're too busy to plan. They can't do the shopping. They don't know how to cook healthy meals. They're on a budget, all of that stuff. So you go, okay, so what is it that I do that actually will help them with that? So actually the outputs are, I will help you create healthy meals, low budget, healthy meals in no time at all. That is going to get the attention of this very busy person who actually can't be bothered to look at the nutrition.
Yeah.
They're
Jamie
not
Oliver's 15-minute meals.
Yeah, that's
right?
exactly it. So, you know, and it's that whole piece that allows them to actually put the benefit in there, and that then utilizes all their nutritional skills. So at no point is the avatar actually buying into, I want nutritionally correct meals that are like fast. That's not what they're thinking.
Facts, where did you train to be a nutritionist?
That's right.
How long have you trained? How many letters after your name? They don't care at this stage.
They just don't care.
At this stage,
I know,
right?
I agree.
It might still be important as you go along.
Yeah.
But when you grab their attention, it's all about them.
Yeah. After that, they will start going, well, how does that work? Or what what gives you the right? What what credentials, what credibility have you actually got? But that initial hook is all about the what's in it for me. Can you solve my problem? And that's what we're always going to come back to. So we want you to be able to gather the stories in your business, because here's the thing, and again, B2B or B2C, it doesn't actually matter. If you're working, and I mean, I worked for the fire brigade for quite some time, and in that non-profit sort of world, in the service world, it's really interesting. The outputs are the programs, the training, the workshops, but actually the outcomes, which is where I needed to sell in. I was running training departments and that sort of thing, but I needed to actually focus on the knowledge transferred, the behaviors that actually changed, the way in which we were doing things now as a result of those workshops. The response times,
they're really important,
yeah,
right?
Completely. So really, the distinctions that you actually begin to make are, if you think about outputs as the stuff that you produce, whether it's virtual or whether it's physical, for a particular customer. So if, for example, you're a car manufacturer and you are making baby seats, that really is the output. You have made these baby seats, but the outcome of the baby seat is the child stays safe in the car. So that's the real difference. So one is sexy and one is not.
I'd go even one level deep, right? Child stays safe in the car. Child's not the one buying the product, it's the parent.
Yeah.
The parent feels responsible, has peace of mind that they're looking after their
fair.
kid. So it's actually the emotional thing that they're being a good parent and they're not going to kill their child.
Yeah.
We always tell you to go 2 levels deep at least on your marketing messages.
And it's that difference that the stuff makes. So that's what you're really focused on. And we always kind of say, so what, so that.
So if you can ask those questions, if you say, I'm a coach that helps someone get financially free, then that's the first so what.
So I go, so what?
And then I go, well, if I'm financially free, I can maybe work 3 days a week.
So that...
No, so what?
Yeah, so what?
And then I go, well, if I work 3 days a week, then at least I can take my kids to school a couple of days and I can see them grow up and I can go to important, their kids' concerts or whatever. And that's the so that,
that's
right?
The so that, which is the what's important to you. And that's really what we're saying. The distinction here is the outcome is all about what is important to the avatar in themselves.
And if you're selling something as a service, especially in corporate land are going to buy on the ROI.
Oh yeah, entirely.
So what's the return in investment? So they want numbers, metrics that can actually come back to them on actually how is their business going to be more profit, more effective, more engaged, etc., etc.
Yeah.
When you're B2C, they still want the results because they're going to buy and they're going to justify. They can do that course, go to that event because they can see the return on investment.
And a lot of that will be not return on investment. It will be, is it value for money?
Yeah.
If I put this effort or that money in, is it going to be worth it for me? That's the emotional context of their decision making.
And that's the word. So B2C has to be a lot more emotional, right? So you have to get them on board, which is why you say financial freedom, so you can take your kids to school.
That's right.
You talk more about this than financial freedom. In corporate land, you'll talk more about the ROI.
Mainly because we're distanced from it, right? We're making a decision with our time, energy, money, resources to, should I go for this intervention when there are so many other interventions around, right? So, how do I make a decision about it? Well, the one that makes me, and our rational minds actually justify after we decide. But the bit below the neck is the bit that decides. They go, emotionally, that feels really comfortable and relieving. And we usually are going for safety, satisfaction, or connection. So one of those 3 driving factors are going to be, I'm into a whole other one right now.
We've done
this. I know. It's like, bring it back. Right. So the point here is that when you highlight the impact of what you do in language that actually matters to your avatar, they emotionally connect and go, yes, I want some of that. Thank you very much. That then earns you the right to tell them how you do that.
So our call to action for you in this is, obviously you've got the bit of paper that we did left and right side before, but we want to make sure that you can use these outcomes in all different formats. So if you're writing a proposal, it's going to be quite in-depth. And one of the things they're going to be looking for is the outcome, right? The ROI. The outcome is the thing that we want you to always put in there, whether it's on your professional bio, whether it's on your social media descriptions, whether it's in your introductory networking pitch.
Yeah.
The outcome, the results, is something that should never be missed off. However, when you're writing...
Sorry, I'm having a serious deja vu moment. Keep talking.
Okay. However, when you're writing a proposal, for example, for a corporation, then you can go through these various areas, which are the aims, objective, outputs, and outcomes, right?
The thing about this is that actually you need to be aware that even though they call it something else, because, you know, the language inside an organization is something that you sometimes need to really kind of decipher in some way. So you may actually hear the distinctions of, and usually it is in these 4 areas. So they might say outputs, but they may not do. They might say the process instead of that.
Services.
They might say, yeah, exactly. They're usually going to talk about their objectives in some way, and they're usually going to talk about the aims, and they might link those through to the mission or the vision that they have. So just to help you identify all of those when you are looking at something like this, you might actually say the aims usually start with a 2, and it describes the change that they're trying to achieve. So this is them making up what they think they need, is basically what it comes down to. So for us, that's you know, if we were speaking about Speaker Insight, to provide speakers, authors, and coaches with the tools and systems to build a sustainable, profitable business that works on your terms. Right, so that's the aim, if you like. It's kind of this bigger picture of that's what we're trying to achieve, and those are really good words to kind of keep in mind. So, you know, actually, when Kelly was just talking about the list, what are they, your avatar, trying to achieve? That actually helps you to start honing what actually happens.
Which is similar to the question we said earlier: is what can they do?
Yes.
Or be after working with you?
Yeah. So the next piece is the objective, because they might actually state it in objectives, is actually how you're going to do this. So that's more about that process piece of what's the activity that happens, and activities equals verbs. Therefore, please start with verbs. It's a personal bugbear of mine. So that might be, you know, what we're trying to achieve by running a 90-day business building foundation course, or by providing weekly accountability and individual feedback. So it's actually the methodology that you use that will help to get to that aim. The outputs are then what you expect to produce, what you're expected to produce. If you were making a machine, what would come out is basically what I'm saying.
These are quite a lot of the features that
they
Alison
really
was talking
are,
about,
and so
right?
it goes. So I was always taught that you go feature, benefit, outcome. Well, actually, you go feature, benefit, benefit, benefit. Outcome. Because actually, if you list all the benefits of a particular feature, so that might be that you do a 3-hour intake coaching session with somebody, that's a feature. The benefits of that are actually you get to know the issues in detail. You get to understand the learning style of each other.
They have a raised awareness of what the gap analyses are in their business, for example.
And the outcome of that is that there is a heightened awareness of what the issues are and a plan to actually move through those, right?
Yeah.
So you can see how that works. So the outputs really are around what do we do, what is made by the process of doing it. So that might be the weekly delivery, in our case, weekly delivery of the Facebook Live training with, you know, a good 300 plus, 600 plus views. I don't even know where it's at nowadays.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah. Anyway, you get where I'm coming from. And then the outcomes, and this is the piece to actually really highlight. The outcomes are the changes that you cause through the delivery of that project or that intervention in some way, that product. So they'll be written into your proposal as a here is what is going to happen. It's almost the promise that you make if you're doing this as a proposal,
yeah.
Or it's the retrospective, here is what happened, here is the change that occurred as a result of the process that was run.
This is what I've done before with other people type of thing.
Now, here's the key thing. Put numbers in. So start with a verb. When you're talking about objectives, when you're talking about what you're actually doing for the outputs, by all means, start with a verb. It makes it active, it makes it engaging. But when you're talking about outcomes, turn the information, even if it's qualitative in the list that Kelly just made you do, then use that and turn them into indicators in some way so that you can actually have a percentage amount or the number of increase from here to here, or a graphical kind of demonstration.
You could do like an infographic where you've got a pie chart of the types of results that most people will get from working with you.
That's exactly it. So it's not just, participants have an increased understanding of the impact of using content to share their visibility. It's actually 70% more visibility is now possible for X, Y, and Z.
Which means that your social media increases, your sales increase, your brand exposure increases, blah, 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 blah.
And there you have it. So outputs, good, but only after outcomes. So on that note, we're done.
We're about to produce an output
yes,
for our purpose course so that you can live more of a purposeful life.
And on that note, we're going to say goodbye and get busy. Take care.
Have a good week.